Hi, kids. I'm so excited to be with you today. We're going to be talking about the resurrection because Easter is coming up, and I want us to think about Easter and what happened that very first Easter. But before we start getting into that, I want to ask the question, why did Jesus come to earth? Why did God leave heaven and come and become one of us, become a person? So we're going to go back all the way to the beginning in Genesis. In Genesis chapter 1, when God said, "Let us make man in his image, in our image." Who was God talking to? He was talking to Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Jesus didn't just all of a sudden appear at Christmas. No, Jesus was with God from the very beginning, and so was his Holy Spirit. So when God said, "Let us make man in our image," and he created them male and female in the image of God. Well, what does that mean, to be made in the image of God? Well, if I have a picture of Mrs. Farmer and I showed it to you, you would say, "Oh, that's Mrs. Farmer," because you recognized her image, which is like a picture. But it's not the real Mrs. Farmer, because Mrs. Farmer is a person. The same way we are made in God's image. We don't look like God on the outside because we all are made different because our God is so creative. Like some of us have light skin with freckles and red hair and blue eyes, but some of you, like Carly, is made with beautiful dark black skin and black hair. And then God made some of you with blonde hair like William and Abigail, with blonde hair and blue eyes, because we have such an amazing creative God who created us differently, because it would be so boring if we all looked alike. But to be made in God's image, he's not talking about that we look like him on the outside. He's talking about he made us to look like him on the inside. And I've got this person over here that we're going to pretend is us, or the first person. And God made us with his love inside of us, that we would love all people no matter what. And he put hope inside of us. And he put goodness and kindness, so that when people look at us and they see us being kind to our brother or sister, or giving hugs to our parents, you're looking like God, because that's the way that God would react. So God made us to be like him on our inside. See how pretty this person is? They've got the love of Jesus, and they've got the kindness, all those things. That's how God made us. But if you remember in the garden, someone snuck into the garden. He disguised himself to be what? A slithering little snake. That's right. And that was Satan, our enemy. And when Satan came in, he told Eve, "Did God really say for you to eat from that fruit?" No, God didn't mean that. He was tempting Eve, and he said, "God's trying to keep something from you. If you eat of that fruit, then God knows that you'll be like him." But wait a minute. God already made Eve and Adam to be like him. So Satan was tempting Eve with something that she already had. She was already made to be like God. And when Eve took that fruit and she ate it, and then she gave it to her husband, immediately she was filled with shame, and she was hiding from God because she knew that she had messed up. And so at that moment, sin came into the world. So selfishness covered our love, and things like stealing, taking things that don't belong to you. Hate covered up all these bad things when we disobey our parents, when we lie, when we're mean to our friends. All of these bad things, when we lie, it covered up who God made us to be. So we have these sins, and we can't take them off as much as we try. We can't do it, because the moment we take it off, another one just pops right on. So we have this problem. That's why Jesus came down from heaven, to take away that sin. So I have a picture here of Jesus when he hung on the cross. Jesus literally took all of our sin. And the Bible tells us that the sin was placed on Jesus. He was the perfect man. He had never sinned, but he took all of our sin upon him. And it died with Jesus. And so not only did Jesus take away our sin, but look, now we're back looking like him because that was our identity. So we're back to being made in God's image. That's what Jesus did on the cross. And we're going to talk about more of that when we get to that lesson in our resurrection eggs.